Go. Hello, everyone. Today I'm joined with Irina and Richard, and this is another couple that is successfully in union. And we're very grateful to have them today because it's far and in between that we meet people like that. So, how are you doing?
We're doing really good. Oh, it got blurry. We're doing really good today. It's not the case every day, but today we're doing really good.
Yeah.
But that's good to understand because I don't know how we'll get into the journey, but especially in the beginning stages, there will be triggers coming up for, a while until you learn to ground it in union, just because you're in union, this journey doesn't stop, the healing continues, right?
Yep.
So, tell us a little bit more about your background, how you met, and what the story was, if you want.
Yeah, you want me to start?
Yeah, you could tell us one.
Well, in the 3D, I'm a teacher and he's a fireman. I keep getting blurry. And we met on a dating app and we fell in love on the first night. And that's it, like in love, like extreme codependency from day one. And the trigger started like a month later. And once this we get triggered, we get angry at each other and we cannot come back together. Like we try and try and try, we can't. And then finally, when we come back together, we're like madly in love. And then we like not even an argument for like a month straight. And then a trigger will come up and the same thing all over again. And we've been doing that for 3 years now. But we live together now. So we have no choice. We cannot run away anymore. We have to like work it out. No choice. And I think that's working, hopefully. And plus, we work with psychedelics.
So you met 3 years ago, and you met on a dating site, and there was a lot of in and out, running and chasing. And then when did you move in? Was that recently you've moved in?
3 months now. Yeah, we've been
Nice.
together without breaking up now since August. So that's the longest that we made it ever.
And
What, like 6 months now?
did you know it was a twin flame situation in the beginning, or did you figure it out?
Did you know,
Oh,
baby?
I don't know about that. I don't know when you figured it out. Uh,
I'll tell you, but did you know?
I didn't know right at the beginning.
When did
No.
you know?
Yeah,
Uh,
how was it from the divine masculine perspective? Who messaged who on the dating app first?
Well, obviously him, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
never messaged on
I
anybody.
don't remember. Was it on Bumble? Because then
No,
you
no,
would have to
no,
message
no.
him
I
first.
never, I never messaged anybody. I didn't have no
So,
Bumble.
okay.
Yeah, no, no, no. He did, and I remember saying to my best friend, I said, "This is the first time in my life that I'm going on a date with someone I don't want to go on a date with. I don't know why, but I'm going." I think I liked the fact that he was a fireman or something like that. Like it was like exciting.
So
I don't know.
how was it for you as the divine masculine? What did you feel when you saw her profile?
Honestly, when I saw her profile, I was just like, okay, she's pretty. I saw something in her eyes that I was like, I'm really drawn to that, but I don't, she's making faces in the photos that I'm like, this is not, this person's not happy. Uh, I don't know, and that's kind of what I was looking for.
Did you
And
um did you
so I
feel
didn't
like
really expect much from, meeting her.
so they usually say the divine masculine tends to have the first like, oh, I like her, and the DF's a little bit like, and then later it hits us, it was the same with me when I was at work, but you tend to like know from the beginning. Did you know from the beginning when you met her? Did you say, oh, she's the one? Did you know she was the one?
No,
The first night we did.
the first night, but not at first.
On the phone, we didn't even like each other. We were annoyed at each other. Like I was giving him a hard
Yeah.
time. He was like, "Let's go bowling." I'm like, "No, you're gonna look at my ass. That's why." He was like, "All right, let's go here." I'm like, "No, I don't like that." I was like so difficult. He was like, "I want to walk away from this girl. She's so
Yeah,
difficult. Why am I still trying?"
yeah.
And I was like, "He's so weird. Like not my type, but kind of like different." And I had like compassion and empathy for him, almost like maternal feelings from the moment that we spoke, even before we met. Like maternal.
And are you based in the USA or Europe or?
Yeah, USA. We're in New York.
Oh, wonderful. So what was your first date like? And when did you start to kind of understand it was different, or there's more to this than just a regular soulmate thing?
Well, I go first, I guess. So when he showed up on the first date, very different from anyone I've ever met. Very different car. Everything's just different. The way he's dressed, like he looks like he's from a different century. And I immediately started making fun of him. And he, instead of getting offended, he actually liked it. And normally people cannot handle me. So he actually got excited from the way I was, like speak what, like, right? Right? Like
Yeah.
the way I speak, direct, very direct. But he thought I was very closed off, which is true. I don't go open up to people like that on the first date. And he wanted me to open up, and he was like very pushy with me. And I ended up crying right on the first date. I was like, what do you want from me? And I started crying. So he felt bad and he went like that. And that's when I fell in love. And I don't know about you. Did you fall in
Yeah.
love? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Basically she was resistant from the very beginning, before we even went on the date, just talking to her on the phone. But then by the time we got there, it was like I was frustrated actually, because now I'm out on a date with somebody who doesn't even want to be on a date, it seems. And I'm like, I'm still trying here. Like, I'm trying to just have a good time with you and get to know you. But, like, so anyway, she ended up breaking down, and I thought, all right, that's it. This date's over. This is officially the worst date I've ever been on. Um,
But what
And then
made you
he
continue then?
kissed me and we felt the energy. That was
yeah,
it. That was
yeah,
recognition.
that was
We
it.
knew
Yeah,
it.
that's
And I was like, let's go to my house now. And I just took him home.
it was
And then I
immediate.
just took him to my bed, and that was it.
So tell us about the energy being different. So for people watching, they won't understand like karmic, soulmate, twin flame. How was it different for you?
It is extreme codependency. And I mean like extreme. Like we cannot, if one of us is mad at each other, it's like your soul is getting ripped out of your like chest, like you can't even breathe, like that type of energy. So you quite literally have no choice. You have to keep working. Otherwise, it's love or death. We're gonna call it love or death.
So
It's
you're
not
saying
life,
the
it's love or
obsession,
death.
the pain that you feel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's unbearable. It's like it's literally. I understand why people think of ending their life
Hmm.
because that type of pain is there's nothing you can do about it. Like, how can you get it out of your chest? The only way is to go back to your twin.
So when you've got that pain going on for you with the triggers,
I don't know how to get this blur off. Yeah.
you go within to heal that issue within yourself. Because often if you go running towards the DM, especially if you're codependent, they just run a mile, they don't like that. They find it very icky and very repulsive energetically, the magnetic energy. Um, so how going back to so you met and then basically I want to know about the signs that you felt. So you said that there was extreme intimate draw to each other. There was a recognition. What did you feel? Because twin flame sex is not a human experience, it's completely
Yeah.
different.
It's
And
not.
people watching, there's a lot of people who are stuck in karmic situations where there is the triggering, they're going back and forth. So let's just really explore how you identified that it was not a karmic, but it was a twin flame situation.
Well, first of all, it's just logic because I already had a karmic. That was my first love. And his too. Um, and the reason when I figured out it was a twin flame is because when I had a spiritual awakening, I was not a spiritual person at all. It was very logical, very science. Like I never looked into spirituality. Well, I mean, I did, but and I was suffering from being separated, and I started microdosing mushrooms. And all of a sudden, I had a spiritual awakening just out of nowhere, like 3 days into
yeah.
microdosing. And then I started being drawn to your content. You know, you got on my For You page, and I started watching like people like you, and I was like, wait, that sounds just like my relationship. We felt like it just logically sounded like that, like everything, like fell in love on the first date. You know, many different things, whatever how they describe twin flames. It was like just matching. And you know, and then when I started taking mushrooms and waking up, I realized that he was already awake this
Yeah.
whole time. I was who was not awake. I was the one who didn't understand him. I thought he was crazy. I thought he had mental issues, whatever it is. Labeled him like I was the normie and he was the awake one.
So would you classify yourself as the runner, the DM, energy,
I'm the
whatever they,
runner, 100%. I'm the
yeah,
runner.
okay.
But he also becomes the runner when he's angry at me.
And then did you get the dreams, the signs, the synchronicities, the outer body stuff, the higher self stuff? And then when you get intimate with a twin, you have that third energy created, you do the astro, it's all strange, isn't it? Time stops, time gets faster, all that kind of stuff, which is only unique to twins, the Kundalini stuff and all that
Yeah, the
stuff.
time. Right, the time. Remember, we met and we were together for 9 days and we were like already pretty much married. And we were like, baby, does it feel like we've been together for 9 days or like 9 months? Like the time was,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
different.
We definitely had like some time dilation.
It's very similar to
That was
psychedelic.
wild.
Yeah, it's like a psychedelic trip. It's like when we're together, we don't have to take any drugs. We already tripping on shrooms without any psychedelics. Like that's the energy that we create
Yeah.
just ourselves.
So when you are together, yeah, explain that. Because some people call it the third energy, the Holy Ghost.
Oh,
Um,
sorry. Oh, my camera.
the camera will come
Sorry.
back. So third energy, they call it the Holy Ghost, Hieros, Gamos, or whatever. And with that, time can go very fast, very slow. It's like you're in your own bubble or dimension or something. So
Yeah.
when you're together, how do you feel?
How do we feel? We feel like we don't need anyone or anything in this world. Like we do live in our own reality. Like we're best friends forever in every dimension. Like we don't need anyone else. It's just the two of us.
I'm I'm having trouble adding to what she's saying because she pretty much says what I want to say. So it's uh man. I mean that
Did
should
you-
say something right there that I don't like
Hard to
she
explain.
just said what I was thinking right now.
So
You know?
the telepathy.
We definitely have to love God on steroids.
Yeah.
So you know
Yeah.
when Irina mentioned that you, Richard, you were the more awakened one. Were you very spiritual before? Did you figure out the twin flame? Like how did you deal with in the beginning, Irina when she was running and
I kind of feel a little dopey about that. I wasn't actually the one that realized it. She pointed it out to me, and I knew what she was talking about. And at first, I was like, no, no, she's crazy. There's
Uh-oh.
no way. You know, at first I just thought, no, that's not real. No, no way. I've already, looked into this. It's not. And then the more she pointed it out, I was like, she's right. I didn't, I had to realize that, I had just completely overlooked it.
That you were awake your whole life.
No,
The twin
I'm
flame?
talking about the fact of realizing that you were my twin.
Oh, twin. Okay.
You know, I don't know. It just for some reason it just didn't click in my head that that's what was going on. So
what did you think it was?
I mean, I just thought I was falling madly in love with her, and I couldn't like explain. Like I never, um, things happened not even fast. It was instantly. So that
Instantly.
I was like, wow, I, I don't know. I didn't know how to explain it to myself. Even though I had already, learned about twin flames. Um, I guess just because the relationship that I was in previously, I'm not sure. I can't really recall Sorry, I lose my train of thought pretty
Feeling
No,
easily.
that
no,
way?
no. The relationship previously caused all the things that, all to realize that this was different, perhaps.
Well, I remember he told me, for example, he said he looked at me like suspiciously. He's like, "What is happening? I've never wanted to spend so much time with anyone before. Like all I want to do is spend all of my time with you." Like he was like looking at me. He thought I was doing witchcraft on him or something.
Yeah, there were times I really actually thought like she has some kind of something. I don't know what she's doing, but she has
Yeah.
like a special like power over me.
Yeah.
Did that scare you?
Oh yeah, at first, yeah, it
Yeah.
was pretty scary. Uh,
Baby, even still now, when we fight, he'll say that I'm a witch. I'm a good one and I'm a bad one.
I would say it was pretty scary. I nearly lost my job uh from how scared I was.
What was going on for you? So you meet, you go on a date. There's a little bit like, she's saying she's not interested that much, and you're trying, but then she's crying, and then you kiss. It's magic. You go home, and then when you're home, is that normal, like to go straight to be intimate with someone, or is it because of the energy? And how was that experience for you?
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
Wait, to go be intimate with someone else, you mean? When we break up?
With no, no, no. With a twin flame, you just feel such a sexual draw that you get intimate, and you just feel like you are one, right? Like it's not what you normally would do, and you just feel this total love and innocence and protection and safety, and it's magical, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we were broken up, I would go and I would dream and I would say, one more time, just one more time. I want to have sexy time with him. Please, I'll do anything. And
That's
then
right.
we would always get back together. Getting back together was like snapping out of a nightmare. It's like you're in a nightmare of your own fears, your like own delusions, because our problem is that we get angry at each other. That's our problem. We both get angry. We both imagine she's a witch, she's a bitch, he's bad guy. Like we see each other as a bad person, and then all of a sudden we just snap out of it and like, what? Like it's you. I love you. Like what just happened? Like it was like insanity. I
Do
would
you think
just
that
snap out of it and fall back in love again, like instantly.
does that come from like childhood patterning and traumas and
Well, we both are neurodivergent, meaning extremely intelligent. So our minds create these patterns that sometimes are false beliefs. Like fears will create a false belief. And we'll believe in our own false belief. Like, for example, um, I look at him, I worship him. I look at him like he's God. Um, and like he's every quality that he has, I worship. But when he gets angry at me, my brain will take every bad thing that he's ever done, put it all in one together, and look at him. Oh, he's a bad guy. Oh my God, I made a mistake. He's a bad guy. It's not true. It's a lie. It's an illusion. That's how crazy, the triggers are. Like you get triggered and your ego wants to protect you and it starts lying to you. And I don't know what goes through your mind when we're fighting, but I'm sure you something similar. Like she's done this to me so many times. Like I can't believe she's done, like that. We turn on each other like enemies.
are you finding that it's getting easier as you're having your ego deaths? Because with a twin flame, if you get too aggressive, there is the separation, but then you forgive and you become more loving and peaceful and grounded. I know you're still working through that though, because normally with such a dynamic, it's very hard to stay together if you're arguing so much, it's very challenging.
Yeah, but we're doing it and we're never going to stop and we're never going to give up. And we have a child in this house and we have a beautiful home. We have a business. We have a lot going on.
Yeah.
So even just for humanity, we are not going to stop. We know we have a mission. So, and we're going to keep going. And all
But
the
then,
twins that come to me, I'm sorry, yeah, all the twins that come to me, I literally yell at them. Like I'll yell at them and say, "No, you're not giving up. No, you're gonna go back and figure it out. You're not giving up." Because when you give up on your twin, you give up on yourself.
but often it's like it's the DMs that run, right? It's energetic, and it's the DFs have to do the inner work in order to bring them back. And if you like, if I physically go out to roam to grab my twin, he'll just run because it's energetic. It's not a physical thing. He'll just repel. Unless I've done the inner work, he won't be able to return back to me. But going back to your childhood and background, like, because recently in the last couple of weeks, I've been feeling a lot of childhood stuff coming up with all the planetary alignments, a lot of stuff to do with, we have to clear as twins, we have to clear all the toxicity from childhood. How did your childhoods play out when you met? And did that contribute to the anger and the
Yeah.
triggers?
I can give you a perfect answer because that's what I do right now. That's my job. I figured it all out, but it took me to it takes psychedelics to figure that out because you do have to travel into your childhood with psychedelics. You don't have access to that without them. So I figured it out. Apparently, well, okay. My mother married someone she didn't love. She married him for security. She used logic. For me, she thought it was going to be a good stepdad for me. But because she didn't love him, they had fights and they were absolutely disgusting. They were, for me as a child, to listen to those disgusting things that they were saying to each other and how they were yelling, it immediately put a fear inside of me that I will never be in a relationship like this ever again. Like, not ever again, I mean, ever. Like, it just subconsciously happened. If somebody yells or says something nasty, goodbye, I'm out. That's subconsciously. So, but Richie's emotional, we love each other. Sometimes you get emotional. So like I can't just look at it and say, it's okay. Like he's having feelings, he's letting them out. It's okay. Like everybody expresses emotions. But me, I get triggered because it reminds me of my childhood. And I'm just like, that's it. I'm done. I'm out. Like he says, when you become like that, I can't even reach you anymore. It's like you're gone. So that trigger is really bad, and I don't know how to heal it. I talk to my mother now. After 20 years, I wasn't talking to her for 20 years, but I talked to her and I tried to heal my relationship with her, tried to understand why she did that, etc. And she's giving me advice too now. It's good to have advice from an older person who lived life already and things like that. And I got his family involved. So like we're trying to get wisdom from older people that were able to make a relationship work, that went through challenges. And for you, about the childhood, what is anything coming up?
So, from my childhood, I feel that I had an excellent upbringing, but there was, I mean, maybe what people today might call abuse. Um, I don't see it that way. Uh, I believe it was totally part of how I got to be the person that I am. So, um, anyway, in any case, um, I I feel like it's my duty kind of to show her, or at least try to explain to her like what it was for me, so that she would know what the example is and know that uh my family, my life, my upbringing was a good one, and it was a good example of what to try to continue forth with in this life. And I feel like sometimes she doubts that, um but she's been coming around to it, and she like she said, she's been even like talking to my parents about stuff. um I don't know. I think that's really kind of what my childhood brought to this.
I want to add something. This is how I see us as a couple, right? Me, I'm like the heart, the soul, right? The spiritual one, the empathy, the love, the compassion, and all that. He represents strength in this relationship, which is what I'm lacking. I cannot navigate this world with all the love and compassion and all my spirituality. I still need strength. I need provider. I need protector. I need logic. So that's what he gives me. Um, you become strong in life when you go through what he went through, right? Let's just say tough, very tough
Like
childhood.
discipline.
Right, discipline, like tough neighborhood, like tough job, like a fireman, like a hero, like a strong. You need to be strong, mentally strong. Us spiritual people, we think that you can just live in the la la land and just be in the God all the time and like, oh, I'm so spiritual. You can't navigate the world like this. How are you gonna pay your bills?
Mhm.
I sometimes can't even remember where I put my phone, and he gotta go give it to me. You know, he gotta give me my water. He gotta give me my car keys. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm spiritual. So you need the yin and yang. You need the strength and you need the love. You need the ego and you need the soul. You know what I mean? Like the logic and it's a combination. That's the goal for twins. Because I hear all these divine feminines, they like, he's not spiritual. Well, basically what you say, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to, but when you say your twin is not spiritual, he doesn't have to be. He needs to be the logical. He needs to be the strong one. You need both. If you can make it work, you can be a power couple.
Yeah,
I
a
think
lot of
I
divine
may be
feminine.
painted a little off here.
Oh, sorry.
Just because she had to add something, I kind of feel like I have to add something to that.
Okay.
Um, I've proven in my life, at least to myself, that I'm a lot more than just a strong or a strong person or a strong model. It's there's a lot more to it than that. I also am a very soft
Oh yeah,
person.
yeah.
Uh, I also I'm not just a fireman. I'm also a massage
Yeah,
therapist,
yeah.
which
Healer. He's a
uh,
healer.
I'm yeah. It's not like a polar opposite of say a fireman, but it's two very different worlds. I love knowing that I'm extremely versatile.
Yeah.
Have you found as you have been together that you started to gain those skills from each other as well? You're becoming to mix more?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I think he's becoming more like me and I'm becoming more like him. And like even with the parenting, like he was the strict one. I was like enabler, which is bad. My son even told me, Mom, can you be like more strict?
Mm.
Like, come on, bro. Like he become more like it's my father than me. So now when he's becoming less strict and I'm becoming like, hey, like, no, we got to be more strict. You know what I mean? Like everything is changing, like mixing up. I embraced, so my full awakening happened just recently, literally just a few days ago, when I finally embraced the fact that I'm not that nice and sweet as I thought I was. Just because I'm loving doesn't mean I don't have a dark side. I also have a dark side, which is anger and hate. I just don't want to admit it to myself, but I do have it. He sees it. When I'm walking around with the bitchy face, obviously I'm angry. In my mind, I'm like, no, I'm just sad. No, I'm angry. And we like to pretend that we're so nice and so good because we're so loving. No, we have the dark side, and once you embrace it and you let it out, because now I can let my anger out on like the Democrats or whatever, like whatever. Like I can let it out on some other people. Like I don't have to let it out on him. But you have to embrace your dark side. I think that's and I embraced it because I realized you need it to survive. Spirituality is great, but you need to survive still.
And
When you're creating, yeah.
a lot of divine feminines lack that, don't they? The physical aspects. So you talked about healing and psychedelics. So what psychedelics do you use and how do they help you? And did you start straight away or you were doing them before you met each other?
He introduced me to them, but in like a recreational way. And it was amazing. I mean, to imagine a twin flame tripping on mushrooms. Oh my God. It's like a magical world.
It's like unnecessary roughness.
Yeah, it was
It's
so
not
good.
roughness, but
It was really good. So
And
obviously we
tell us
connected
more
real.
about that. So what mushrooms also psilocybin, is that how you say it?
Psilocybin.
What does it do to you? How does it help? What effects does it feel on the person?
So psilocybin, while you're under the influence, takes your ego away completely, shuts it down. You don't have your ego for about 4 to 6 hours. All you have is your soul. And when you're two people sitting there and only your souls are communicating, obviously, what kind of experience do you think that is? It's very, very bonding. It's very mind expanding. Um, I mean, we've been doing it for over a year. We're helping other people. Oh, by the way, we have a product This is
Oh,
called,
oh, hold on. I just have to say, there's one thing that you have to say when you explain it that way. Is that if all of what she said is true, if you are actually using it that way, you have to know that that's what you're doing, and you have to have that intention.
yeah.
Yes, it's true. Some people take it on the beach or in
If you're,
clubs,
if you're
right?
taking it recreationally, it's a completely different story.
Right. So when we take it, we'll talk, we'll
Yeah.
talk about things. So we had an emergency situation where we were like fighting really bad, and we needed to come up with something. We created this product. It's called In Love Again. It's a chocolate, and it has psilocybin and MDMA. So MDMA releases oxytocin, the hormone of love, and serotonin. So when you're talking to your partner, you're so madly in love, like unconditionally in love, that when you look at them and they talk to you, it's weird. It's hard to explain. It's like you feel what they feel. And all of a sudden you have so much compassion and you're like, oh my God. And you realize how you hurt them unintentionally. Unintentional. It's always unintentional. And you say, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I can't believe I did that to you. Oh my God, I can't believe it. It's like you feel how they feel, and that helps you. That rewires your brain. It helps you understand them better. And even when you are not under the influence anymore, for weeks after, you are very, very bonded. Like me and him, like attached by the hip after that, like a brother and sister,
And that's
and you connect.
available
Yeah.
online, or where can people get
Yeah,
them?
I have a website on my TikTok. It's on there. Um, I mean, I don't really advertise it like that. I tell my clients about it, but a lot of people they think, oh, drugs, it's scary. No, it's not scary. These medicines are necessary in this society. And all this stress and all this stuff that we have, like it helps you go within and communicate with your soul. So for us, we think that this is what helped us.
I used to be scared of all sorts of like medicines because when I was in my 20s, I was drugged twice actually. I was quite
Mm,
scared of these things, but plant medicine is completely different because
completely.
you do it either with a shaman or you do it in a way that's not in a club setting. You do it in a very
Yeah.
safe setting with someone you trust, have an intention, etc. And the medicine is so intelligent. So and when twins do get into arguments, it is very ego driven as well, and it's very challenging. So that product that you've just it sounds quite amazing. Is there any other medicines you take? Is it just mushrooms, or do you take anything and MDMA? Is there anything else that you?
We microdose LSD. Not always, but sometimes. So we just put it in the syringe and take tiny time. We do everything in tiny amounts. Everything is therapeutic. Nothing is like for tripping because it's too much already. Like everything is very therapeutic. So we have MDMA. What do we do? MDMA, mushrooms, LSD. That's it, right? Yeah, that's
So
it.
MDMA opens your heart space, mushrooms gets rid of the ego, and then what does LSD?
LSD expands your consciousness to the point where you become like creative genius. Well, if you are already smart, it's gonna help you. So it helps you like enjoy life and just want to go and just like accomplish things, and you have so many ideas, and then when you have those ideas, you implement them. You don't just sit there and think about it, you actually do it. Like all the products that we have, by the way, like including this one, they all came out of our fights. Like every time we have a big fight and we finally make up, we're like, okay, why don't we create this? You know?
Yeah.
So when we go through a challenge, it's darkness, it's horrible, it's painful, but then every time we come out, we get some kind of reward. So that's why we see this as a video game. Like mushrooms showed me, it's a video game. There's levels. Once you finally meet your twin, that's your last challenge,
And it helps
basically.
us to move forward together.
Yeah.
It's,
It's
it
your
keeps
challenge.
building.
The
Yeah.
game, I see its levels as well, and it's like once the same level keeps playing until you heal it or you figure it out, and then the next level. So you talk about neurodiversity, right, as twins. So it's very interesting. Do you have the same neurodiversity, and do you want to explain more about it and how it affects? Because that's a different strand.
Well, they call that neurodivergent in society, but in reality, it's just very, very, very intelligent people, more intelligent than average, let's just say, right? I think I'm pretty sure I just figured out I have autism. because I'm a special ed teacher. I've been working with autistic kids for years, and I
Mhm.
finally made the connection that I was just like them when I was a kid because I forgot my childhood. But with the psychedelics, I was able to remember, and I was like, oh my God, this was me as a kid. But I grew up in Russia, and they didn't have the diagnosis yet at the time. And that created, my mother never fell in love with me because of that. She didn't know what was wrong with me. Like a child who's completely independent, who doesn't need their mother, who doesn't ever listen, who does whatever they want, like just like a wild child, basically. Doesn't make eye contact, like that. So she thought something was wrong with me and she didn't love me. And I think that's what I just finally figured out. So even being a special ed teacher working with autistic kids, it really helped me connect with them. And I know them, I feel them, I understand them. They know me, they love me. So that's why I'm so good with them because we're basically the same. For you, I don't know what it is. I think he's just extremely smart.
So, okay, I have so many things I'll ask you. Okay. So
Huh.
high functioning autistic, right? So extremely intelligent, connected, perhaps even with like I met a divine masculine in Brazil who was able to connect with the spirit world and download things. It was just so interesting. But with that also comes a lot of challenges, right? So being
Mm-hmm.
high functioning autistic, you might feel extreme loneliness or not feeling belonging on the world, or he would go through periods of asexuality, no sexual desire, still completely like sometimes, and then very high sex drive, and then not feeling connected with the world, like really suicidal as well. Did you go through any of those challenges?
No, I'm the opposite. Because of that, because I was so lonely, I was also the only child. I developed a skill to make friends like no problem. Like I can go out there and make 5 friends like right now. So I developed this skill. I become friends with everyone. I always have multiple people to talk to, always. That's like my therapy since childhood that I created for myself. I just realized it. I was
You
like,
know,
oh, everybody told me I have so many friends. And I was like, wait, that's because I need them.
Mhm.
Because if I didn't have them, I would lose my mind with my own thoughts.
and as a autistic person, to accept something as spiritual like twin flame, it's challenging because autistic people very high functioning, very logical, very rational. So how did you accept twin flame? You know, because
You
you
know
you would
how?
analyze it a lot. Like you would have probably picked everything and dissected it
Yeah.
completely. Yeah.
Do you know how I explain it? There is a scientific explanation to everything. We just didn't get it to it yet. So, like, I am still logical. I'm still 3D. Like, my mind still works like that. So, I would say a twin flame for me as a trauma healing coach, it's just a trauma bond. That's what I see it as. I mean, yes, of course, we use different words, right? But there's also a scientific explanation. Two people have trauma, they have needs. He has needs for unconditional love, which is what I can provide. I have a need for a protector provider who's going to treat me like a princess. He gives it to me, we energetically felt it. It's quantum physics, it's basically proven already. We felt it, we connected, we recognize each other. We have multiple lifetimes together simultaneously, you know what I mean? And I feel like it makes sense to me because I can explain it scientifically.
But eventually, once you heal the trauma, there's no trauma bond. Then what? Then what is left after that?
I think a magical life and whatever you want. Like we already have the magical life when we're not fighting. We manifest on whatever we want. Literally, we have our mind is so powerful together. Whatever I want just happens. Sometimes 10 minutes later. But as soon as we fight, it all falls apart. Because now my mind is full of fear and I'm manifesting fears instead of the good things. We got to be very careful right now because twin flames, when they're together, they're very powerful manifestors.
So I want to talk to you about all that in a second, but I want to give Richard a chance to talk about if you've got neurodiversity or if you've had anything that kind of brought a challenge to the understanding of this connection.
Um, okay, so I don't know. When we use the word neurodivergent, to me, I feel like it has a certain amount of reverence that I don't like. I can't even. I don't look at myself. I can't put that kind of label on myself, like
Yeah.
neurodivergent. Only because it's Man, I could only wish to be something like that, you know? That's amazing. I know, uh, I know I have a daughter on the spectrum who certainly is. Oh, what a beautiful mind. Um, and that's why I say, like, for me, it's like it's hard for me to even say something like maybe I am too, you know? Just because I see what positive effect it can have for others.
But you
Does
are a
that
bit. You know what I think of him? I feel like I have the wisdom somehow. I don't know how. Like it just comes constantly. He somehow has the knowing. I don't know what it is. He knows everything. Like, do you know how a person can be right all the time? Oh, 95% of the time. Sometimes you'll make a mistake, but somehow he's always right. And people don't want to believe that, including me. And I'm like, no, you're wrong. I'm right. And he's like, no. And like he gets angry. And I'm like, no. And then later on, like, shit, he was right. How is that possible? So I don't know what kind of neurodivergence is that, but he somehow knows things. He somehow sees through you. Like he somehow knows, like even when you're being overly dramatic or whatever it is, like I don't even know, right? Sometimes I feel like I'm being overly dramatic, but I don't even realize, but you realize. It's like he sees
Yeah.
you right through you what you don't see about yourself. That's what he has. Like he
is
sees
that
your,
just with you or with everyone?
I think with everyone, with
I
everyone.
don't know about with
No, I think
everyone.
with everyone. He sees right through people. I mean, I see right through people now too, because I'm obviously autistic and spiritual, whatever, all that stuff. But he always has, he's always seen it. Like he sees things that other people don't see. And he's like annoyed almost like, how come you don't see it? But he doesn't get it. Not everybody has the same level of consciousness as you. Like, like very expanded consciousness he has. That's basically.
Being neurodivergent as well, does that make it challenging with the emotional aspect of a relationship? Sometimes that could be a
Mm-hmm.
block or barrier.
Oh,
That's our only issue, our own emotions. That's it, nothing else.
I feel like you just hit me. No.
Oh, I didn't mean to. And then, okay, so earlier you were talking about, because our followers, they're going to want to know a little bit more about, the twin flame stuff, like whether there's any spiritual psychic gifts or, you said that you become like really powerful manifestors. Some say they feel like gods and goddesses on earth. Like, how do
Yeah.
you feel as a twin flame in union? And when you are in that good space, how are you feeling?
Well, I accidentally discovered that it seems like I have healing powers. But we were joking around. We'll take LSD and just like laugh. And I'll be like, let me heal your farts. And I'll just touch it and like they go away. And now we started calling me a fart healer. But it's a joke, but it works. Like, and then my friends will come over. Again, I don't have to be, but it works when I am on a psychedelic. I can just touch someone's neck and their pain will go away. And again, I'm still a little freaked out about it, so I'm just like joking around about it. But I think that might be the case. And he has something what do you have with the hands? He's got something with his hands, like he can heal with his hands. Yeah. I know he's shy about it still, but I think so.
I think really the only like true ability that I have there is to feel beyond uh the reach of the skin. Um uh my hands are the only comparison that I can make is to say like my hands are kind of like an MRI
Mm, good
Yeah.
one.
that I can see
Skin.
beneath with
Yeah.
this
He can see with his hands. That's it. You can see with your hands. Yeah.
to a degree.
Yeah. And me, I have a powerful mind where I can just imagine someone's pain go away and it goes away.
It's a very
But
physical sort of like ability you've got. What other things? So, how long was your longest separation? Did you have very long ones or were they quite short?
so it started 2 days, then it went to like 3 days, then it went to 2 weeks, then it went to like 2 months, and then the longest one was 4.5 months. Then we came in back like 2 weeks, then 4.5 months again. So I would say 9 months altogether. So it feels like nine is a number that's very significant for us that shows up in our life like crazy. 144 non-stop, by the way, non-stop all the time. So 9 months is enough to have have a baby.
Yeah, have a baby.
Yeah, and I think we had the baby by separating for 9 months. I was miserable, he was miserable, but we were so angry at each other that we just couldn't come back together. We were like, no, that's it. This is the last time. Like the anger is what keeps us apart. Um,
What brings you back
but
together?
the soul is always winning. It at some point it just starts pulling again, like just pulling and pulling and pulling. And then I remember walking around with my dog and I feel his voice inside of my head and I'm like, all right, I guess we're getting back together again.
Who contacts who to get
It's
back together?
always me. Always. Always. Baby, don't even start. It's always me.
So because you said you were more of the runner, so what sort of weird stuff happens as twins? What things you've mentioned stuff, the telepathy, you've mentioned the healing hands, you've mentioned the soul brings you together. Did you have had dreams and like you said the numbers 144, like
Yeah.
what weird stuff goes on?
Well, I'll tell you one weird thing. There was a lot of them, but when we were separated, I had a dream that his daughters moved across the street from me, like on the same block. And now every time he picks them up, he thinks about me. That was the dream. We got back together and turns out that his daughters did move pretty close to me. And he does think about me every time he picks them up because it's the same neighborhood. So that was 100%. Then there was times where I was sitting on the couch and just jump up and look out the window. And I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I looking out the window? He's not there. And then we get back together and he was like, yeah, I would sit on your block sometimes hoping to see you, things like that. Or one time I walked into a store and I smelled him and his favorite song started playing and that's when I lost it. And my 10-year-old son, he knows already. Every time I would start randomly crying, he was like, oh, it's Rich, right? And I'm like, yeah, of course. What else do you think it is? My son wanted us to be together because he was like, Mom, can you just go back to him already? No, he's an asshole. Mom, you were happy. Just go back, because your child wants you to be happy.
So how does your child see? Is you've got one child between you two, or you've got
He's
no?
got two daughters and I have one son.
And then do your children feel something with your connection?
Our children want that when they grow up. My son already said that he wants love. Despite seeing us fight and cry and all that, he still wants this. So I think we are giving a good example to my child that love is not easy, that it's not as magical as they tell you. It's like what you see a good relationship, like a peaceful relationship, that's not love. That's like appreciation, soulmate, like family, like you create a family with that person. Real deal love is not easy. You have to keep fighting. So I think it's good that my son sees that and he- he's already like a romantic. He's 10 years old. He's already writing songs about love. Like,
So how did you realize you were twin flames? Because some people watching could say, oh, obviously you talk about some of the spiritual stuff, but they could say, you're arguing and then getting away separate and coming back. So how did you realize it was a twin flame or not anything else?
for me, honestly, it's just logic because everything just matches. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm very logical. So I hear everything about it. I'm like, okay, that causes your spiritual awakening. Yeah, he definitely woke me up. Like that causes you this dark night of the soul. Oh, 100%. Like I've never felt pain like this ever in my life. Like everything that they describe, that's what happened to us. And obviously I have mystical experiences when I take mushrooms. Um, and that's when I talk to my soul. And my soul is telling me, it's guiding me, and it's saying, he is the one. Go figure it out. Go figure it out. Girl, you got no choice. Keep trying. And then the brain goes, all right, we'll create a new strategy. How about this time around, we're going to try this? Then something else happens. Then the brain is like, all right, let's try something else. So we just keep trying.
Do you feel like
I
it
mean,
gets
not trying.
better every time when you come back and then you work through it? Do you peel away that layer of whatever went on?
You think
Yeah.
so? Yeah. Definitely. So what's happening is I'm changing. My behavior is changing. I'm going from like this feminist, you know, this independent woman who cannot be controlled, who's supporting herself, who doesn't depend on anyone. I'm turning into more like of a feminine woman who, respects her
Allows
man.
the
And yeah, but it's only because I'm changing. If I didn't change, he wouldn't stand for it. He would let me
Are you
go
being
again and
forced to,
again.
are you being forced to change, or do you feel like it's a conscious choice?
Oh, it's a conscious choice. It's a 100% a conscious choice. It's going
It would have to be. That's the
it,
only
it
way.
it's going against your beliefs. It's reprogramming your mind. If society says you have to love yourself, you have to, peace is more important than love. Security is more important. That's what society says.
Mhm.
I go against society. I say, I don't care about your peace. I don't want your peaceful life. That's boring for me. I want a magical life. And if I have to go through fighting and whatever it is once in a while and then keep getting out of it, like out of a battle, all wounded, lick my wounds and start again, I'll do it. Because I don't want to just have a boring life. I want to have a magical life.
Wonderful. So that's why it's called twin flames for a reason. It's burning of the ashes, it's burning everything down, all the
Yeah.
templates. So, is there any sort of, let's talk about your social media, your services, and all that kind of stuff as well now.
Well, once psychedelic worked for us, I started a podcast and I thought that if I just talk about my story, people are gonna listen. It didn't work that way. People don't believe. Then I started going on social media a little bit more. So anyway, I have people, whoever needs me, this is what I do. I don't go and advertise. Whoever needs to find me, if the universe send them to me, they find me. They'll contact me, they'll message me, and I'll coach them for free, by the way. I don't coach, I guide, on how to take the medicine, what to do with it. They call me all the time. We're on the phone, we become friends. So what we're really trying to do is build a community, to be honest. We want to build a community of people like us that, like to expand their mind and consciousness, that, are fighting for love and not giving up on love. We want to just have other people to become like us, I guess.
And what
Encourage.
advice do you have for those? Because I have quite a few divine feminines who constantly moan, don't do any inner work, make it into this romantic situation, blame the masculine, and just stay stuck in the circles, cycles, and stuff like that.
Yeah. The blame game has to stop. Like the blame and the pointing the fingers, that's the only thing that keeping you away. As soon as you say he is like that and he's like that and he's this, that you lose. You're done. That's it. You're not going anywhere. You're stuck. As soon as you try to understand him or her or whatever, that's when you start to move on to the next level, right? So, first, when you're in the victimhood mode and you think something was done to you, that's it, you're stuck. When you look at the situation and say, we're both victims, we're both suffering, we both want to be together, we're both supposed to learn something. We are two teammates right now in this very brutal video game, and we have to pass the next level together. There's no way we can do it separately. Yeah, you can go lick your wounds, do a little bit of healing, educate yourself, like get stronger, get to the next level of consciousness, but go back and keep trying. He's not gonna like divine feminines. He's not gonna reject you. And if he does reject you, he's lying. Don't listen to him. You, by the way, you go to him, like go to him and say, "You idiot! Don't you see we are connected? Don't you see we're always thinking about each other all the time? Like, what do you do? What are you waiting for? Let's do it." Like that's what I'm encouraging people to do. And if you get triggered, you get triggered. Fine, try again, try again, try again. The divine masculine will say, "I don't want you." They lying. They want you.
Yeah, they say that, then they block, like my one, for example, block, run, leave me alone, scaring me,
Lying.
continue continue to do crazy stuff, and then get blasted by God. And then for me, I did go to Rome a few times, and he never met me. At first excuses, and then after that, it was just like total blank. So for me, I believe that he must come out of the shadows and woodworks when he's ready, because I have exhausted
Right.
things. But
Well, Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Rich did. He did do work on himself while we were separated. And oh, by the way, this is a very interesting story. I was driving in the car. We were separated for 4.5 months, and I heard a voice in my head, call him now. And the brain was like, no, don't call him. Uh, cry it out, let your feelings out. The heart is like, now. The brain is like, no. The heart is like, now. So I texted him. And I wasn't blocked, by the way. He also used to block me all the time. Baby, you better tell people why you block. Um, I know why they block, but he'll tell you. Um, so I was like, oh wow, I'm not blocked. He probably wants to talk to me. And I said, hey, I just wanted to see if I'm blocked or not. I would like to talk to you. He's like, yes, like let me call you right now. And as usual, he shows up in front of my house and I get in the car and we're like, okay, how many times are we gonna do this? We restart in level 30 at this point. It's like season 30. We break up, he comes to my house, I get in the car. And like we start restarting this level again. And I said, is there a reason why out of all the days it was today that I texted you? He goes, yeah, you want to tell why?
No, you do it.
He goes, yeah, there's a reason because today was the first day that I finally felt a little happiness, like a raised vibration, because he got himself a fish tank and he wanted to set up an aquarium because, he's a nerd. So, and that makes him happy. So, and then he also was going to the gym that day. So there's two things that like he started doing for himself. And as soon as he reached that vibe, I got the message to call him.
So
So, and
Richard, how was it for you then? So your inner work as well, was it plant medicine based or were you doing other things?
what were you doing, man?
At that time,
Yeah, you were doing something. You did LSD, you said.
Taking care of yourself maybe, or just sorting your life out?
you know what? I had been on pharmaceuticals. I was hospitalized and put on pharmaceuticals, and I had gotten off of them at that point. Um, and that was what was, making me so happy, on top of all the things that she said. Um, so just to be out of that and to finally know, like, oh, thank God, like I'm done with that. Like I don't need any pharmaceuticals. Like uh, it was a huge relief.
Yeah.
Um,
So the journey does really push you to heal. It whoops your ass for your ego and forces you to get rid of all that to get into your soul. But I mean, we could talk for hours. But what was your social media handle for? We'll put it in the description. What was the social media? How do people find you?
Healing with magic.
Healing with
That's
Magic. Is that on
Yeah,
TikTok?
oh yeah, this is for you, teacher. Yeah, so Healing with Magic started as a podcast, healing with, with the drug, with the psychedelics. We were still separated. Oh, by the way, advice to divine feminines. Okay, this is my advice to you. We were separated, and I believe that we cannot be together. It's dangerous, it's not good. You cannot have a life like this. It's not, we have kids and stuff,
Yeah.
jobs. So I decided to go and first I started a podcast. That was fulfilling for my soul. I thought I was doing something good. Then I wrote and I published a children's book. I was so obsessed with that, I felt like that was like helping humanity. Like it was fulfillment for my soul. Then another children's book, then something else I was doing. So if you're a divine feminine and your divine masculine is not ready yet, let's say, go and do something for humanity and fulfill your soul just to keep yourself from losing your shit, you
Yeah.
know.
Focus on something good.
Yeah. Like
yeah,
do something for us because that's what we are here to do. We're not here to go to work 9 to 5. We're here to figure this game out and then share the rules with the rest of the people. And that's what the plant medicine gives you. It gives you the rules to the game. It shows you how to play it.
Thank you very much. And then with the plant medicine, whatever you learn, you have to bring into the 3D and you
That's
have to
it.
make sure you implement.
Yeah.
But Irina and Richard, I know it was very beautiful time that we've had now. And we'll probably have to have more conversations. And I know you're going through still your union and you're stabilizing yourself. So thank you for taking this time out to reach out. And it's Healing with Magic on TikTok that people can reach out. You provide free coaching, free like advice on
Yeah.
psychedelics and help people with the podcast and do good work in the world. Thank you very much. And you do obviously healing with your hands and your massage and whatever else. And keep
Yeah.
in touch so we can hear what further things you develop and what you do.
Yeah, we will. I mean, I think I'm gonna start making a lot more content. I was all my content was about psychedelics, but I think it's time to make twin flame content, and not even twin flame, just couples. Like it doesn't matter whether you twin flame or not. It's the same template for everybody else. Understand your partner. Look at them as a child, as a little kid who did not have their needs met. Are you willing to meet their needs? If yes, go ahead. If not, get the hell away from each other. You know what I mean? Like, take responsibility, meet their needs, identify their triggers, like, stop being a little bitch and running away. I'm sorry. Sorry.
No, I agree. See the
Yeah.
innocence, see the child, see the innocence, see the trauma, and come from that
Innocence.
place of love. Yeah.
Exactly. It was a child. It was someone else's kid before. It was done to them without their consent. That's it. You want to take responsibility, then you have to do it. Don't run away.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you.
I'm talking a lot.